Reason in the building. Everybody get in here. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Share, share, share. Let's talk about it. What up, what up? Everybody hit that like button when you come in.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on because it takes two to tango and I need to hear his side of the story. So she's driving me insane.
What up? Everybody hit the like button on your way in. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
So we can see the light.
See the light. Let's go. What up? Peace, peace, peace. Like and share. Like and share. Like and share. No, y'all don't play that at a Diddy party.
Hello, my love. On this International Baddies Day, I'm going to teach you how to be the villain and have fun doing it. This is something that I genuinely struggled with so much as someone who always wanted to control the narrative, as someone who didn't realize she was a people pleaser, as someone who wanted to be perceived as nice and would get so bothered if someone didn't think that I was a nice person. Like, I would literally make it my mission to try to get them to like me. And it wasn't until I turned 30 that I just started accepting that I was going to be the villain in other people's stories, regardless how I did or did not behave in some moments. And so I started wondering what it would look like to actually embrace that. So I want to give you 3 tips that I've been following to not just help me make peace with the fact that I am the villain as we speak in certain people's stories, but even in some extreme cases to understand that that's actually a good thing. Just let me explain. First things first, I want you to ask yourself, are you actually a villain based on the way that you behaved? Or are you just a people pleaser that is very uncomfortable with finally putting your feelings above someone else's? That is something that requires a little bit of detachment, a little bit of you pulling yourself out of the situation and trying to observe it from an objective standpoint. If this was a movie that you were watching, if this was a story that someone else was telling you about other people and you were not involved, would you characterize yourself as the villain? And even if the answer is yes, if you ask yourself why you would even characterize that person as the villain, would it be because you actually did something wrong? Or is it because the other person wasn't satisfied with you? A lot of us were raised, especially as women, okay? That's why I'm posting this on International Women's Day. A lot of us were raised to believe that other people's feelings about us are more important than our feelings about ourselves. And it's very hard to detect that. And so we end up...
Yeah, she's making some good points. I don't really disagree. But I would like to expand on her thought. Sometimes we make ourselves the villain because of how we view ourselves, right? Like, being a people pleaser isn't for the sake of pleasing people. Sometimes it's about filling a hole in your own spirit. So you're not pleasing because you just want to please. No, you're pleasing because you're trying to satiate an internal, deep-seated, unresolved need. So in a lot of ways, it makes you a predator, right? To yourself, unto yourself. And although you've created this facade of nicety, this facade of helping, you're actually only doing it so you can help quiet some type of internal struggle within yourself. Attila said it perfectly, a worthiness wound. I hear insecure attachment when somebody is constantly trying to please and be acknowledged for the good they bring into someone's life. But before I get all the way knee deep in this topic, it is important that I remind you guys, I'm gonna be off tomorrow, which is cool. Early day off in the week, early weekday off. That's crazy. Tuesday, I love being in here, but I get an extra day off because tomorrow we're going to need all the KBLA listeners to tune in to KBLA Talk 1580 tomorrow night for live coverage of the vice presidential debate featuring Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance. We will be broadcasting the debate live from KBLA here in Leimert Park from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to have an all-star roundtable immediately following the debate, moderated by Dominique DePrima and, of course, Tavis Smiley. That's Tuesday night, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on KBLA Talk 1580. Here we go. Tonight's topic. I think it's important here that we break this thing down. Say hi to the bad guy. Embracing your villain era through the conviction of self-love. What do you mean, your villain era? Sometimes people will cast you as the bad guy in their life, right? Everybody is the writer, producer, and director of their own story. You get it? Especially when you become an adult and you're responsible for the choices and the decisions you've made, right? You are the writer and the producer, the director, the executive producer of your own story. You go back and you find out, who did this to me? What did I model? How did I learn to be this way? And you start to say, no, this aspect of what I modeled isn't for me. This aspect of what I modeled isn't for me. Are you not producing and writing your own story from that point forward? I think it's very important that we understand that. But for people who don't like the healing journey, because the healing journey is a revealing journey, the healing journey is anti-concealing. See, when you get on that healing journey, please understand, it ain't gonna feel good all the time. Healing is not a walk in the park. Healing sometimes is a struggle. Sometimes healing can get so deep down and dirty in the pain that they say it feels like the dark night of the soul, right? People are trying to throw that healing word around like they throw love around, like they throw God around, but healing is not easy. And many people would rather get what their wounds require than actually heal those wounds. Let me say it another way. When your wounds are well fed, they have no incentive to heal. Wait a minute, hold on. Can you starve a wound with your unconditional empathy and love for it? Absolutely. Oh, I never looked at it that way. So I know, because we live in social media world. And everybody in social media world wants to repeat and parrot quotes without understanding the depth of what the quote actually means. To heal is to make whole. You can't make anything whole until you recognize the fracture. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Here we go. Say hi to the bad guy. Come on, say hi to the bad guy. It's okay to be the bad guy sometimes. You can't be the good guy in somebody else's story when they're constantly trying to feed an insatiable wound. Do you understand? Say hi to the bad guy, embracing your villain error through the conviction of self-love. What is a villain? Noun, a character in a film, a novel, or play whose evil actions or motives are central to the plot. Sometimes they call them the antagonist in the film. Somebody's got to be your antagonist, right? You're not going to talk about how you ignored the early signs that showed that they could be an antagonist. You're not going to talk about how the enhancement bias that many clinicians talk about, that first honeymoon period, that 18-month window that causes us to, minimize those red flags and marginal or and aggrandize those good aspects, right? The green flags, they call it. We're not going to talk about that. You are an active participant and co-creator of the reality you're currently experiencing. I keep telling you, there's so many examples in nature. There's so many examples in philosophy. There's so many examples in psychology of how relationships are mirrors. But you don't hear people giving you those examples. You just hear people mimicking the phrase. Well, relationship is a mirror. How is it a mirror? Tell me how I'm mirroring this person or this person is mirroring me. Because if you don't know the how, you're going to have need for a villain. Blame will be at the centerpiece of your conflict. There won't be any claim. The wound in me is partly responsible for why this external representative of that unhealed wound is here now. Give me the why, right? The person or thing responsible for causing trouble, harm, or damage, right? Embracing truth often requires shedding the lies we've grown comfortable with, especially those lies we tell ourselves. If you've played the role of scapegoat, anxious, preoccupied, or codependent in your relationships, choosing authenticity may cast you as the villain in the eyes of others. For those struggling with codependency, or what Dr. Ross Rosenberg calls self-love deficient disorder, SLDD, setting and upholding boundaries can feel foreign and oftentimes can feel very terrifying. Why is this the case? The fear of loss and the uncertainty that follows, losing connections, whether familial, romantic, or professional, can trigger shame wounds, guilt wounds, resentment, right? To those who have benefited from your lack of boundaries, your newfound confidence and assertiveness may seem like a betrayal because you're their source of something. So they're getting something from you, right? And when you stand up for you, when you honor you, when you begin to deeply respect you, that's a betrayal to their wounds. Let's call it like the church call it, to their demons. When you get strong in the conviction of your own self-love, that's like an exorcism to their demons. I know people don't want to hear it that way. Listen, when I come forward, as you already know, I have a whole crap ton of questions I want to ask you. And I want you to really think deeply, right? Do you know how to stand up for yourself? Do you know how to advocate for yourself? Do you know what self-love looks like? Do you know what it feels like? Can you like yourself and unconditionally love another? Right? Can you accept bits and pieces of yourself, but love someone else totally? Is your way of partially loving yourself while trying to fully love another a green flag to those with unhealed wounds? Did you hear what I said? Is it a green flag, not a red flag? Oh, Lord, they only partially love themselves, and they trying to fully love me to somebody that is unhealed. That is a green flag. That's a go. Are y'all listening tonight? 1-800-920-1580 is the number to dial. I want to speak to you. 1-800-920-1580. I want to teach you how to say hi to the bad guy, embracing your relationship villain error through the conviction of self-love.
The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear.
Yeah. Where we at? Where we at? Who want to talk to me now? Where are we? Where we at? I want to talk to y'all. Y'all get in here. Let's talk. The framing, you cool with the framing? Everybody hit the like button, 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 share, like, share. Do your best to support your brother Zoe Williams in the best way you know how. There are multiple ways to do it. You can go to my website, MrZoeWhat.com, and purchase a book. We haven't sold a book in weeks. No, that's not true. We sold one book today from today's show with Brother Dewan. That was our first book sale in weeks. So you can go to my website, www.mrzowhat.com. You can purchase a book. You can purchase the He Is Risen. Damn what Uncle Shay Shay talking about. Damn what Shannon talking about. I'm telling you, Rose Sparks, and no disrespect, but all those commercial ED pills, listen, all got chemicals in it. Don't get it twisted. The all natural way, that's better than theirs. I'm telling you, that's better than theirs. He is risen. RZN. I have a limited amount of them, a very limited amount. If you want to get some, go to my website, MrZoeWhat.com, MrZoeWhat.com. Order. We ask people to support in a myriad of ways. You can go to the super chat, which is a $ down at the bottom of the chat, right? It's a $. You could put $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever you can to support this channel. It is important that we continue to receive your support for this channel because this is how your brother Zoe can live off of this salary. Anyway, yes, please support your brother. Please keep your brother in your thoughts, or you can go directly to my Cash App, $ZoeWhatNetter. We encourage everybody to do it. When people do it, what I like to do is shout them out, acknowledge them, give them love, just because I understand we at the end of the month, it's tough. People been going through damn hurricanes or whatnot. So listen, support the best way you know how. And the absolute easiest way to support is to hit the like button. We got 52 people. but only 23 likes. The likes absolutely cost you nothing. Those lights should be going crazy. Those likes should be going nuts. What up, what up, what up? Hello, hello, hello. The likes should be through the roof. They're free.
Past trauma has made it hard for you to see red flags when they're waving at you. Then the first time that you set boundaries for yourself and stick up for what you really want is going to feel really intense. And even though most of us who were abused or neglected as kids don't start learning this until well into adulthood, I call this the early phase of speaking up, the adolescent phase of healing, by the way. When you start saying no, it'll come out like, no, no way, I said no. Even on small questions like, do you want cream in your coffee? So everything comes out like big, oversized, and strong, and that's okay. Even if it's too much, it's okay. It's going to come back to size pretty soon through practice. And then there's this normal phase of healing where you spoke up for yourself and you set your boundaries, and then doubt creeps in and you get a little bit confused. And this is why it's so important that we don't try to heal alone, because it's this backlash period after you've moved forward in your healing when you can be most vulnerable to giving up, to losing your boundaries. So my letter today is from a woman I'll call Denise, and she wrote to me with a question, but also a success story, and I wanted to share that. She's been watching my videos and following my healing program for a while now, and so a lot of progress is happening for her. So she writes, Dear Fairy, my childhood, while stable in my early years, had a lot of neglect and abandonment, but no violence or sexual abuse. I've got the pencil here to circle things I want to come back to, but first the success story. My childhood, while stable in my early years, had a lot of neglect and abandonment, but no violence or sexual abuse. My mother died when I was 10. My father was kind but not perceptive or protective, and he remarried twice to unstable and difficult women who elbowed my sister and me out in a variety of ways, and to whom he deferred. Fortunately, I had the loving care of an aunt in another country and was able to go to boarding school by the age of 15, which, while I hated it at the time, provided protection for me from the stepmother and her chaotic household. Funny how spirit comes to help, don't you think, she says. So the topic that closely applies to me is a decades-long pattern of being attracted to unavailable men. I've been divorced for a couple of decades after a 10-year marriage. I bowed out of dating about 6 years ago, partly to develop the talents I have, partly out of resignation, and partly to try to heal this tendency.
Listen, we're human beings. Do you know why we're attracted to unavailable people? Andy, do you know? You have no idea? Come on, Andy, guess. Do you don't know? Huh?
We want what we can't have.
See, the way our logic is set up, our logic builds the victim into the conversation. We look at the unavailable person, man or woman, as the problem. You're not ready. You're not You're not ready to have a real relationship with somebody. You're not ready to be present. You know why you attract that person? Because you're not fully present within yourself. That's why you attract the unavailable, because you're not totally available to yourself. Listen, if you're looking for somebody to fulfill something that you think is somehow missing, if you're coming from a self-scarcity mindset, why would you listen? Why would you attract somebody that's going to be totally into you when you're not totally into you? Again, when you ask people, explain the mirror analogy of relationships, they're not giving you that. They just repeating it. Relationship is a mirror, How? The most important relationship of your life is the relationship with yourself. You mistreat yourself, you become a magnet for mistreatment. Ross Rosenberg's book, The Human Magnet Syndrome. Self-love deficient disorder, i.e. codependence, are irrevocably attracted to narcissists. So the self-love deficient, the SLD, is attracted to a narcissist. That's not the mirror of relationship. See, this is how you know people are watching YouTube videos. They're watching TikToks. Relationship is a mirror. How, Sway? How? How, Sway? Tell me how. If you can't tell me how, I know you ain't read a book. I know you haven't read nothing. And I know you're watching YouTube videos, probably from Zoe Williams. No, we're not going to let them off the hook, Andy. You got to put this work in. Even in the way she framed her conversation, the unavailable man. Well, get available to yourself. Ooh. You're the real supplement, not the external representation of what you have or have not worked on. I know y'all not ready. When we come forward, Zoe Williams gonna keep cooking you in this hot frying pan. Come on, don't get scared. Get on the phone. It's Monday. Zoe Williams is turned all the way up. Come on. I had total package energy today, so it's kind of what it is. I can't have total package energy every day. It'll be crazy. You ready? I can hear. Sorry. I just could hear. KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you, when we fight, we win. The Coalition for a Just and Equitable California is at the forefront of grassroots advocacy for reparations and reparative justice in the Golden State. Working alongside Assembly member Dr. Shirley Weber, they helped create AB 3121, establishing America's first task force dedicated to studying and developing reparations proposals for African Americans. Now, the coalition is focused on building strong public and community support for California reparations and ensuring that robust legislation is enacted. Join the movement for justice and equity. To get involved or learn more, visit cjec-official.org. That's CJEC-official.org. Fighting, winning, and making history together. And we don't back and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. What up, y'all? Where we at? Where my people at? Where my people at? I'm just over here working. That's all. I'm just over here working. Y'all ready to get busy tonight? Please support the channel. Hit the super chat button, the $ at the bottom of the chat. $2, $3, whatever you could do to support, we'd appreciate it. Whatever you could do to support. I know it's at the end of the month. I know the first is tomorrow. I understand. Or you can go to my Cash App, $Zoe What Netter, if you can, please. And I haven't heard from Nikki from the SIP. I want to make sure everything is good down in Florida. We need Mimi in here to let us know she's okay as well. Any of our Florida folks, Hustle from Dade County. We definitely need Hustle to get in here and let us know that everything is cool. Florida, stand up. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Please continue to support. Please continue to have my back on this platform. Please continue to support this show and the content produced therein. Don't forget to go to KBLA Talk 1580 on Apple Podcasts, on Google. What is it? Google Play? Yeah, Google Play. If you keep attracting bad guys, apparently you're a bad girl. No, that's not what I said. But I see what you mean. I see what you mean. That's not what I said. The unhealed wound is what's going to attract the quote, man, knock it off. John Gilbreth, listen, man. If you ever come to LA, Rev L Ratchet, I hope you on the phone lines tonight, brother. I miss you, man. Get in here and talk to me. Same with John Gilbreth. Everybody, please like their support. Like it. There's a feature that allows you to like the super chat that someone has just donated. We just got our crew donating. That's 2 people. Please show love. Get in here. Listen, I'm here to undo what we have become comfortable with. So many of us are comfortable with the old ways of thinking. So many are. Let me give you a jewel. There's a documentary. I asked somebody to watch it recently. With a Silent Mind by Jiddu Krishnamurti. It breaks down the whole history of Jiddu Krishnamurti. It's called With a Silent Mind. All right. Near the beginning of this video, once it gets started and it gets going a little bit, they're talking to one of Krishnamurti's followers who's from India. He has a very thick Indian accent, but he's talking about this story where he met with a monk, and the monk wanted to meet Krishnamurti, and Krishnamurti met with the monk and showed that it was talking to the monk and showed the monk something, and the monk had a moment of freedom from his thought. But then when he came back, he said, well, how do I keep it? He said, that's why I was waiting for you. I knew you was going to ask that. He said, now, did you ask that? Or did your old mind ask that? The old mind who now wants to possess the new moment. Blew me away. I said, what the? So what happens is people will listen to my show just for my framing, how I frame it up, but still have the old mind. You under dig? With a Silent Mind. Go watch it. He said, I was waiting for you to ask me, how could you keep that moment? I was waiting. That's why I didn't tell you to go on. Your old mind is asking to control the new moment. Woo. Freestyle Fellowship. Number 16. You didn't see it? Don't worry. Ladies and gentlemen, the VOR. That playlist is crazy.
Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of The Terry Cole Show. So, a couple of weeks ago, there was a story that came out that Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend, Sarah Brady, shared a bunch of text messages that he sent her when they were dating 2 years previously, when they were breaking up. And it was basically all became this hubbub in the world of mental health because in the text messages, he was misusing the term boundaries. He was basically making demands and trying to coerce her to comply with what he wanted her to do and calling it his boundaries, and that, she was like an awful person for stepping over his boundaries. And then sadly, I fell into a Reddit hole reading all about this, and I just could not believe how much misinformation there is out there, even though this book, BoundaryBossBook.com, you can look at there right now, came out 2 years ago, people have no idea what is coercion, what is abuse, what is effective boundaries, what is control. So, in this episode, that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Boundaries, coercion, and control. And how do you know if someone is using coercive control on you? That is what I'm going to be covering when we get to the content part of this. But before we get there, if you happen to be new to my channel, say hello. I'm so glad that you're here. Introduce yourself. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I roll out something new, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday, because I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. All right. I love that we are such an active channel. You guys are so open and honest and sharing, and I super appreciate it. So I love to say thank you and highlight your comments. So thank you for this comment from Adrian Smith under the video episode, How to Manage Your Reactions Without Suppressing Your Emotions. Adrian says, Terry, I want to thank you so much for your videos. You have no idea how your videos have helped me in my personal growth. I've struggled with defensiveness and anger. I'm learning to take a moment to slow down and not be rash. I would typically just fly off the handle without fully understanding or hearing what is making me upset. That is beautiful, Adrian. Thank you so much for sharing. And it really warms my heart because the whole point of this channel is so that you get tools, skills, strategies, so that you can up-level the joy in your life and lessen your own suffering. And it sounds like it is working for you. So thank you for taking the time to share. I appreciate you. All right, let's move it on into today's content. Oh, so where do we begin? Well, we begin with let's establish what boundaries are. Boundaries. I describe them as your own personal rules of engagement to let other people know what's okay with you and what's not okay with you. Right? That is basically describing that your boundaries.
Pause. She's cooking. She just started cooking. But most people use breakup as the ultimate boundary. See, she's talking about a set of skills that you set for this person you're dealing with, your significant other, people at work, whatever, family. She's talking about active, dynamic relationships that need boundaries, right? Or look at it as banks, right? Along the river, right? A bank along the river controls the current or flow of the river. See, that's how you use boundaries. This is how we're going to flow around these banks. Do you see? That's where the currency, right, of self-love lives. If you look up the Latin word bank, it means what? Well, how does it come into English? The Latin word bank, B-A-N-C, comes into English as bench. This is what the judge sits on. He sits on the bench, right? But its term is not the English term. The Latin term is bank. And just like when you commit a crime, you get charged. Guess what? When you don't have boundaries, or if you're not sitting on the bank, the bench of your spirit as its judge, you will be charged with people constantly encroaching upon spaces and places that need boundaries. Do you see? You got to sit on the bench of your soul, presiding as its judge. I know you guys don't want to hear it put that way, but let her finish cooking. Go ahead.
Rules of engagement to let other people know what's okay with you and what's not okay with you, right? That is basically describing that your boundaries are on your side of the street. If we look at the Jonah Hill situation, where his girlfriend, he knew when he met her, was a surfer and a model. What the fight was all about is he didn't want her surfing with any male surfers. He didn't want her wearing bathing suits on her Instagram feed, even though that's the thing that attracted him to her. He didn't want her hanging out with particular types of other women if they were unstable, quote unquote. I mean, the list of demands honestly was completely ridiculous. I'll put a link to it in the show notes if you want to see it. But again, he kept saying, so I've let you know these are my boundaries. And if it doesn't work for you in doing this...
Those are not boundaries. Those are barriers for another person. We got to know the difference between a boundary and a barrier. If you got to demand something of somebody else, you're trying to protect something within you. Oops, I'm sorry. When is it okay to be the bad guy within intimate relationship? Standing up for yourself and protecting your boundaries should not be seen as a villainous behavior within intimate relationships. True or false? Right? Who do we most often cast in the role of victim and villain in our narratives, and how might increasing self-awareness help us reframe our experiences? Ugh. Somebody got to be at fault. Well, we've got callers on the line. I think it's time for us to grab one. Reverend L, Dallas, Texas, been on the line the longest. Let's get him in here. Reverend, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
What's up, big bro?
What's happening, brother, man? Welcome in. Welcome in. Long time no hear from. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
I got just a few little comments about the villain situation and the self-love. So, looking at it from a different perspective, self-love and becoming a villain, some people become a villain to the wrong people, making them pay for the next, making that next person pay for something that the person in the past did. Mm-hmm. So now you done create a false villain. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like the person that came into your new relationship or came into your life, they don't deserve the things that the previous person has done, which goes back to that healing. Mm-hmm. So if they heal, they can identify and see, I shouldn't treat this new person this way. Mm-hmm. It's not fair to them. Mm-hmm. But going back to what you said earlier about the healing can be a dirty game. It's a dark place when you're healing. Right. And it takes time. Mm-hmm. So that's where that self-love comes in. Plus, triggers. Triggers will also create a false villain, thinking that everybody else is against you, so I have to get them before they get me first. Mm-hmm. But it's a trigger from something that they didn't heal.
Oh, you cooking, brother. You cooking. Keep cooking. Wait. I got to just stay with me, Reverend, because you really cooking. I don't know who the Reverend is preaching to, but he needs the organs. He needs the organs real quick. Lord, when we come forward, I'm going to let this good brother finish his sermon. Let's get it. We cooking. Is it me or am I'm turned up? Let me check the Cash App real quick to see if we got any love today. Hold tight. Sula and LS Jefferson. I'm just going to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sula and LS Jefferson. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We got 2 Cash Apps. If you feel like supporting, if you feel like, donating, please, please, please show your love. Go to my Cash App, $ So What Netter, or do as John Gilbreth did. He hit the little $ down at the bottom of the super chat. Support the best way you know how, if you can. We totally understand if you can't. Still, great show tonight. I'm turned up.
Finding new hobbies comes with age. My mom started getting lost and not knowing where she's going. Becoming muscle disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Take your time. We're going to get to you. I promise you. We're going to get to you. Just stay with me. Please keep calling in, okay? Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Bye-bye.
Imagine this. You consistently say yes to requests even when they drain your energy.
Yes, yes, yes.
You bite your tongue when someone insults you because you don't want to deal with the conflict. Over time, you become a simmering pot of resentment that shows up in snarkiness and low self-worth. These are just some of the outcomes of having weak boundaries. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Today, I'm going to give you 5 signs that you need stronger boundaries. Number 1 is overcommitting or people-pleasing. An example of this is consistently agreeing to take on tasks when you feel overloaded.
You may fear disappointing the person or fear that saying no will feel mean or withholding. We all have a narrative identity. This is the story about yourself that you have in your head that brings together your past, present, and future and gives you purpose. I will talk more in detail about narrative identity and how to uncover yours in another video that will be linked to this one. Let's say part of your narrative identity is that you're not a selfish person, and that selfishness is saying no to something that you're capable of doing. There are no unreasonable requests, and if you have the ability or skill to do something, there's no legitimate reason to say no. Saying no is denying others. You could believe this because this attitude was modeled for you by an authority figure or someone that you looked up to. And this didn't have to be during childhood. You could have been in an adult relationship with a person with a strong personality who convinced you that saying no is selfish. Or you could be very sensitive to other people's feelings and have a low threshold of tolerance for seeing people disappointed. Whatever the source, if this is your mindset, you will be prone to overcommitting to things and doing things that you really don't want to do, but feel obligated to do to spare someone else disappointment.
If you don't want to do it, it's not you. How about that? See, we live in a society that's binary in its thought process with regards to good, bad, right, wrong, up, down, left, right. No, 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 no. It's bidirectional and it fluctuates. Do you see? If you really don't want to do something and you do it because you want some type of acknowledgement, praise, acceptance, whatever, first off, you're a masochist, a spiritual masochist. You're beating up yourself, chasing something that you could give yourself. Was it, I think it was the Buddha, Siddhartha Buddha. What did he say? Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. But your relationships are all set up for somebody to make you comfortable. The coldest villain in the game lives inside your spirit. I'm sorry. The coldest villain in the game, in the relationship game, in the human condition is what is in you that is unhealed. That's the coldest game. I know. Y'all don't want to hear it. Y'all, it's fine. Reverend L, get back in here and finish cooking.
Hey, don't let them off the hook. Do not let them off the hook. What you just said, don't let them off the hook.
Keep going.
Because if you let them off the hook, they'll never attain that accountability.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta hurt. If they feel that hurt coming, then they don't wanna feel it. You know, it's like when you step on a little tack or something like that, you're gonna be real cautious about it again. You ain't gonna walk around barefoot.
Yep.
So when these type of situations come about,
Mm-hmm.
and they identify but they don't want to address it, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Can I point out a problem in your framing? Everything you said is right. Everything you said is right except for one word. You know what word keeps coming up?
What's that?
They.
Us.
There you go. Replace it with we. Us.
We.
Cause it's bidirectional, bro. You doing the way you got it framed linguistically, it's still victim villain. It's gotta be us. We. This is how we do. Right? And remember, when we look at the word we, you take that W, you turn it upside down. What is it?
That's me.
Oh, relationship is a mirror. Huh. We is a reflection of me. Two me's. Come on, man. Finish your thought, brother. Finish. Go ahead, finish. I'm with you.
So you got some folks that are comfortable hamster wheeling for the false things, and then when they get mad, when they get played, but they play themselves, thus creating another villain, a self-created villain for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's going through the same things over and over again, and it's cute being the villain until somebody is your villain.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to deal with that when you aren't healed? And it all goes back to that healing process. Going back to the healing process, and if you really want to get to where you want to be safe, in a safe space, finding a solution to become healed, that's just my little look on it.
Mm-hmm.
Find a safe place or a safe space and regain your self-love and your super self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
You attain those personal goals. It's also best to become solo and learn yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, like you said right before you went in to add me on, people do all kind of other different things instead of trying to sit there and learn themselves and know what they go through, and they're looking for love through other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with you, starts within you. But it gets dirty, it gets dark, it's a bad place when you've been hurt so many times and all these other different things, and you really want to be loved, but you got to start with yourself. Love yourself first, and then guess what? You'll start attracting the things that you actually want. And are you ready for what you attract?
Ooh, come on, brother. Come on. Hey, man, guess what you just did, man? I miss you, man. You done came in and cooked up. Guess what you just did?
Brought Dallas, Texas in the building.
Dallas, Texas is in the building. Reverend L. Ratchet. But I'm going to say something even more ratchet. Don't you know a really good, attentive, and loving and nurturing spouse can retard you spiritually? Ooh. Huh? What? A good and nurturing, attentive, and loving spouse can retard your spiritual growth. Did you know that? Listen, if you're someone who always sees the answer on the outside of yourself, you will always be in a state of pursuit of it. And once you get it, you're in the state of maintenance of it. Do you see? This is why I say sometimes we prey on each other. We're looking for people that will cater to the wound's desire. As long as a wound is constantly on the nipple of life, somebody serving it, somebody kowtowing to it, somebody constantly giving to it, you have no incentive to heal yourself. Every answer you've ever needed is within you. Every answer you've ever needed is within you. You want love in relationship, you got to start with loving you. But you can't get there if somebody's force feeding you something that you refuse to feed yourself. When we come forward, the voice of reason, going back to the phone lines. We got heavy hitters on the line. If you want to get in here, 1-800-920-1580. Let's get it! You can call now. Call in now. I'm too loud, my bad. I don't know if you guys are understanding my methodology here. Are you seeing? I'm doing, no disrespect, this is not no ego shit, but I feel like I gotta explain it because of how we come back to certain thoughts and ideas. When I say things are bi-directional, they're going both ways. Do you understand? A victim is a villain to a certain degree. A villain is a victim to a certain degree. Do you see? It's just like hot and cold. Hot and cold are a part of one thing. What is that? Temperature. So you can't have a villain or a victim without each other. They define each other. They're part of the same spectrum. Temperature is on a spectrum. So is victimhood and villainy, duality. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So if you listen to the majority of the conversations that are being had about relationships, somebody wrong, somebody at fault. And what I'm saying is whatever within you is unreconciled is seeking that in another. So there's a purpose for it. There's a meaning to it. And if you're paying attention to the lesson, which is actually a blessing, you can grow from it. Do you understand? This is why I'm always coming with the the bi-directional piece. That's why I'm always calling. That's when Reverend L said, they be doing this, they be doing that, they be doing. You now become the center point, and they is out there. And I'm going, nah, it's not how it works.
Your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. Are you dating a fat person? Are they worth
John,
the
you
wait?
up?
Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about this? The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I was like the kiss. Is this okay? Roll up there.
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy.
E pistol, I'm always here.
Hit you with the bad touch routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my lip.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses. Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
So William,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
So, I talk a lot about discernment, and discernment is a key skill to learn in managing these relationships. But the other thing, the balancing act here, is that people say, oh, this makes me so uncomfortable, this narcissism thing. And it seems like the only way to manage this is to get out of these relationships. And I'm here to tell you there are ways to think about this without having to break up with your friends and family.
Pause. Do you see? Do you see? I just mentioned that earlier, right? When I said usually the breakup is how people set the boundary. And just like Dr. Ramani just said, sometimes you don't have to break up. Many people are breaking up because they don't have tools in their intimate toolbox. They don't have tools in their relational toolbox. So because they have an empty, intimate toolbox, the breakup is the solution. She just said it right there. Sometimes you wind up getting rid of a good relationship that got a flat tire, so to speak. You could fix the flat tire if you had the necessary tools. But because you don't have the necessary tools, you see it as a total loss when there's an entire working vehicle right there with a flat tire. You will crawl your tail out the relationship and walk away from it. And it still has value. Go ahead, let her finish.
The way to manage this is to get out of these relationships. And I'm here to tell you there are ways to think about this without having to break up with your friends and family. So let's take this on. I know that people don't like the idea of thinking about having to walk away from people they care about, and I get that. So let me just start it this way. You have a friend. You like this person well enough. You've known them for a long time. There's been a few annoying things, maybe some pink flags, but they usually aren't deal breakers. Over the years, you've been very open and flexible with this friend. You've shared personal issues in your life, deep personal issues and vulnerabilities in your life with them. They aren't always the greatest listener, but you've trusted them with what you've told them. You've changed your schedule around to accommodate them. Your friend asks you if you want to go to a big ticket concert, hard to get tickets coming into town. She's driving. She asks you, can you charge the tickets? She'll pay you back. They're impossible to get. So you do. You get the tickets, but she cancels 2 hours before. You can't find someone else. And then she argues about paying for the tickets. Let's say the tickets came to $2,000, some enormous amount of money. So you may be thinking this video has some am I the asshole vibes, but it doesn't. Just put it out there. What would you do? Would you dump this person as a friend, even if you've known them for many years? If she pays you back, would you go back to normal like nothing happened? And what if this wasn't the first time she'd done something like this? This kind of expensive flakiness or real insensitivity, and she acts like she's done nothing wrong. When we have had long histories and linked lives with people close to us, family, close friends, partners, even long-standing colleagues, we have to think about how we can use these relationships as a place to practice discernment. I've had a lot of people talk about this with me and clients and whatnot, and because discernment is so important, I thought to sort of cobble all of this together as a technique that many of you could think about. Like, listen, I'm a former professor. And so for the last 25 years, I've been thinking of everything as grades, A, B, C, D, and so on. A is good, F is bad, that kind of thing. I have found it useful when talking with clients and thinking of ways to calibrate around, especially the narcissistic relationship in your life, to think about it as sort of a leveling/grading system, right? The people in your life who are A's, they have a full access pass. These are the people you'd pick up at the airport during rush hour. You trust them. You're open with them. You know if you gave them money, they'd definitely give it back. You can be your full authentic self with these people. The luckiest people among us have family members who are level A. Really lucky people have a spouse who's a level A. A's are rare and wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason is in the building. You already know what it is. That was Professor Romney. She was getting ready to really cook, but we got callers on the line, and I want to talk to them. Tonight's topic, say hi to the bad guy. Embracing your relationship villain error, right? Through the conviction of self-love, through loving yourself. How does the concept of the shadow self from Jungian philosophy inform our understanding on the roles we play in intimate relationship, especially as perceived villains? In what ways can the teachings of Jesus Christ on forgiveness inform our ability to embrace the parts of ourselves that we label as villainous? Ooh, 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 ooh. How does the balance of attachment and surrender in relationships reflect the duality of love and fear as explored by ancient spiritual traditions? Huh? Y'all thought I wasn't going to hit you with them questions. Guess what? They right here, right upside your dome piece on your way home from Jones Beach. Shout out to Nasir Jones. What role does cultural conditioning play in shaping our perceptions of self-love as a form of selfishness? Or how can we challenge that narrative? Huh? What insights can we glean from, I love this philosopher, but I've always had a hard time pronouncing his name, Thich Nhat Hanh's concept of interbeing, to understand our interconnectedness with those we perceive as victims or villains in our lives. How might the law of attraction, as discussed by luminaries such as Wayne Dyer, influence our relationships with those we consider to be entitled or overfed? Ugh. Ugh. In what ways can we practice? I just laugh at these questions because these are the kind of things we should have been asking our whole life, right? In what ways can the practice of radical acceptance, radical self-acceptance, as taught by Iyanla Van Zant, empower us to embrace our perceived villainy without shame? How does the concept of namaste provide a framework for acknowledging the duality in ourselves and others within the context of relationship dynamics? So many questions, and I have so many more. But the fact that I have callers on the line, it's time to get to them. Let's go, let's go, let's go. John, Mountain View, Hawaii, get in here. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Praise and blessings, chat. My mind goes in many different directions, but I think of only the one thing that I am continually facing in my existence as far as my evil self versus my good self.
Mm-hmm.
My good self will love to embrace the ugly side of my self-talk.
Ooh, okay.
Again, I'm glad the only person that hears that voice is me,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been told that I can make things levitate by sight when I'm on that level.
Wow. Okay. We getting scared up in here, Pastor. Come on, Pastor John. Keep cooking.
But the thing is, I'm reminded of the attachment styles, which again, the secure, the insecure avoidant, the insecure resistant, and the insecure disorganized.
Right.
And unfortunately, I put a mirror of healing in between all of them because, again, how do I embrace my ugliest portion of me and not really fight it or hold on loosely just so I can let it know still love you?
Right. And this is no, you asked a heavy question. I think we need to create a little distinction here. The process of why we get the villain is a lack of self-knowledge, which leads to a lack of self-acceptance, which leads to a lack of self-love, right? If we embrace ourselves, both sides, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent, we tend to attract what we are. Now, when we're not attracting what we are, or excuse me, we're always attracting what we are. When we're not attracting what we want, is what I'm saying. What happens is we start to blame, right? Right. I did all of this and I didn't get nothing back from it. Is this what I have to show for all my hard earned? See, first off, you didn't do it with a pure heart. You did it with the hopes of being paid back plus interest. Do you see? Do you see the deception in that? You're not doing that because
Well, I see the deception, but I'm also trying to embrace and understand the fact of the acceptance of I am in a space to where nothing comes.
but wait.
And I'm
But,
always giving.
but wait,
And
stay
it's regardless of the giving. Go ahead.
right, but stay with me. I'm framing this a certain way because I want you to see where this conversation is going, right? So it's, hey, wait a minute. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't get what I ultimately wanted out of this. And it's your fault. What I'm saying is, when you stop performing, the people pleaser, the one who has the weak boundaries, the one who gets ran over, who tries to look like I'm the good Samaritan, but really I want this payoff. When you take all of that away, the person who saw you as a catch because of you not having any boundaries, right? That person will get irritated by the strength you've just exhibited. When you stand up and say, wait a minute, I got self-respect. Wait a minute, I'm not going to allow you to run over me like that. I'm not going to allow you to misuse me like that. I'm not going to allow you to continue to do A, B, C, and D. When you start to manifest self-love by creating healthy boundaries, then they start to look at you as the problem. Because remember, when you were weak, they saw you as food for their unhealed wounds. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but at the same time, the question still arises. The whole point of it being insecure or secure has something to do with the healing that takes place.
Right.
But you can't take disrespect and tell yourself I'm not going to be disrespected by you when the disrespect you get is from you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you throw in attachment styles, especially the insecure attachment styles, wherever there's an insecure attachment style, there will be a spiritual tapeworm. I hate to put it that way, but wherever there's an insecure attachment style, there's a spiritual tapeworm that needs external sustenance. Does that make sense?
Indeed.
Yes.
But at the same time, the healing, which again, having to understand it from a different perspective, because again, spiritually, if the healing is to take place, someone still has to stand. Someone is going to take off.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, you're invited to come back.
It depends.
You've got to be able to not, for an avoidant attachment style to have a resistant attachment style, somebody's got to be, I need you to stay here while you continue to run. But the invitation got to take place.
That's
a secure attachment style has to be dealing with a disorganized individual All I'm here to do is put things in place, sir.
But that
And
sounds
at the same time,
that sounds like disorganized.
Say again?
I said it sounds like you're describing disorganized. You got to stay here. That's what you're describing, disorganized.
You have to stay here. I'm just here to help you organize what you got going on.
Yeah,
I'm not here to make things. I'm not here to pull things. I'm here to help you.
But Pastor John, I don't think you can help them that way. I think your help is holding the mirror. You remember that movie, The Fifth Element? Do you remember it, The Fifth Element, where who's the actor? What's my guy who was in Die Hard? I forgot his name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Bruce Willis. He was in The Fifth Element. And there's an opening scene where they're inside of this pyramid and they're excavating this pyramid. And there's a little boy holding a mirror that's reflecting the sunlight down into the caverns of the pyramid. And you have an archaeologist there, you know, with his brush reading the hieroglyphs, and the little kid keeps falling asleep. And when he falls asleep, he loses the light because, you know, he drops the mirror. And, you know, the archaeologist keeps screaming, Aziz, Aziz, light. So I'm giving you that example because many people, right? All you can do is be the Aziz in their life for many people. Your job is just to hold the light. See, you can't fix a dismiss or disorganized attachment style. You can't fix it. They have to fix it from the inside out. Now they can go to therapy. A therapist can give them ideas and concepts and strategies of how to deal with themselves. But the reality of it is, a partner is only going to reflect what they fear. When you're dealing with a disorganized type, you have fear versus feelings. If the fear is higher than what they feel, they're going to flee. If the feelings are higher than the fear, they're going to connect. Do you see? But that's totally on them. Now, you can come in and be the most engaging and sweet and kind, but if any of that is translated as intimacy, oh my God, it's getting serious, oh my God, it's getting deep, they're going to experience something that the disorganized call the ick. They're gonna be, oh no, getting too close. He's encroaching on my, or she's encroaching. Do you see what I'm saying? That's typically how that dynamic goes. You understand?
Understood. And still, Aziz, light.
Aziz, light.
And still, Aziz, hold the light. Or me telling myself, don't run from the mirror. Don't run from the reflection.
Oh, that's strength, brother. Keep going. Tell us how we get that strength.
But that's what needs to be developed. That's the organization that needs to take place. Because again, you can tell somebody, yeah, I may end up disrespected by you. It may not be your plot, and it also may be your plot, subconsciously or unconsciously. But am I supposed to still hold the light, or am I supposed to go to sleep?
Sometimes you hold the light, and sometimes you pass the light on to someone else. Stay with me, John. Don't go nowhere. John from Mountain View, Hawaii, in here cooking. What up, yo? Y'all good? Y'all straight? I hope you guys are enjoying the show. I want to thank everybody for hitting the super chat. I want to thank everybody for hitting the cash apps. John Walter, what up? You enjoying the show, John? I hope you are. I hope you are enjoying the show. Let me know. Show been flying by. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a really good topic. It's a really strong topic. We're really digging into it very deeply, and that's the way it should go. That's what we do. I hope you guys are enjoying the content, the information. But do you see, I'm distinguishing because it's easy to quote what people are saying. It's easy to say, somebody said this, somebody said that. Let me give you an example. I said, you take we to me, or me to we. You take that M and you turn it upside down as we. You take that W and you turn it upside down as me. But that's a book. I want you guys to go get this book, Me to We, Finding Meaning in a Material World by Craig Kielberger. Me to We, right? By Craig and Mark Keel brother, right? This is something, man, I've been studying this shit for over, what am I? Damn near 30 years, right? Damn near 30 damn years. And it's not an egoic thing. It's okay. What's been said for 20 plus, 25, 27, 28 years is now starting to proliferate, but it has to proliferate with substance. It's not just about hearing something catchy. It's about understanding exactly where that catchy phrase and correlation came from. You feel me? I'm going to tell you where I got it from. Exactly. I'm going to tell you, Dr. Muriel Bouquet's book, she's done the work. Go get her book on generational curses. She's done the work.
Our lives are guided and hemmed in by one overwhelming imperative. We must never let people down. Not just a few friends and family members, but pretty much anyone who wants anything of us. Perhaps someone wants to see us again for supper. We kept them entertained, and now they want more. The problem is that we really don't much like them, but we go anyway, because how could we not? Next time, and probably the 20 times after that. We give money to people we don't trust. We stay up too late at parties we hate. We wind up on holiday with characters we have little in common with. We would feel a sense of obligation to someone we just met on a tram, or to a dog that wanted us to keep throwing a ball. On our gravestone, it might as well say, got here a lot earlier out of an inability to say no. It gets worse the kinder a person happens to be to us, and the more emotional the relationship. If we develop reservations about a partner, we'll smile bravely when they speak of meeting up with their parents, moving in, or getting married. Who are we to have a contrary view? What gives us the right to turn away enthusiasm? Simply because we happen to feel a little uncomfortable and intermittently somewhat nauseous. There tends to be a history behind our feelings of obligation. Way back, people around us were likely not to have been overly interested in our sincere needs. What did it matter how we were feeling about school or a friend or the strange pain in our tummy when they, the big important person, had something properly vital going on in their world? We might have needed to tread extremely carefully, lest we encourage yet another bout of rage or self-pitying explosion. Probably best.
Gosh. Performance. Being nice, being nurturing. It's a sales pitch for many broken people. That's how you learned how to survive. Your sales pitch was couched in fake politeness, right? Or let's just say what it is, pretentious. Pretending the whole time. You know, every day I live, the world gets darker to me because our minds have forgotten what real love is. Everything is fear-based. Everything is performance-based. It's really difficult for people to get outside of the ego's influence on love, of our childhood's influence on love. Love is so far beyond our comprehension. Love is ineffable, like God itself. If God is a mystery, so is love, so is quantum mechanics, right? You don't really know the bounds of love. You don't really know the extent that God and love are the same thing. They're just words. They're really synonyms for God. And you can say God is love or love is God. It doesn't matter. It's just a word. But the reality of that, as Krishnamurti called it, suchness. Many of us are so low in our spirits, we've never seen it. Brother John, get in here and give me your final thought in 30 seconds.
I think you was actually leaning heavily on what that is.
I think you said it. I said it. I didn't mean to say it for you, brother.
I know, but at the same time, this is what the growth of life is. You find out how deep your well goes when you go through trouble.
Wow. Wow. Hey, brother, let me just say this, man. I love you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you being here every day. You brought Mountain View, Hawaii in the building. Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir. Love you more.
Yes, sir. All right. When we come forward, more from the VOR. I didn't mean to play no damn Drake. You know, I didn't mean to play no damn Drake. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Drake. I mean, it's LA on mine. I gotta represent the Southland. I'm like, wait a minute, was that Drake? That ain't supposed to be on my playlist. No disrespect to the brother though. I love the brother, man. Like, he part of hip hop legacy, part of hip hop history. Can't disrespect his work. He done laid it out. It's all good. But I got to stick to where I'm from. Again, if you're going to support me, please do it tonight. There's no show tomorrow. I'm off. There's no show.
You canceling Drake, Zoe? You can't play Drake on The Voice of Reason?
I'm not canceling Drake.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't cancel Drake.
That's what I'm saying.
Drake is a giant. I can't cancel Drake. But, however,
speak on it.
we need a little distance. We need a little time.
Still?
Yeah.
Still?
We need. It's got to be after the Super Bowl.
After the Super Bowl?
It's got to be after the Super Bowl.
All right. I promise.
Like,
hey, but you can't have him on the list then?
it was an accident. It's got to be
After the Super Bowl.
After the Super Bowl, little bit of time.
Watch Kendrick bring out Drake and Lil Wayne. Watch.
You think he gonna bring out Drake and Lil Wayne?
I just feel
that would be crazy.
My point.
That would be bananas if he did
point.
that. That would be crazy.
Let them drop like a joint album the next day or something like that, or a record. I just feel like
that would be crazy.
My point. It'd be great for hip hop. It'll be great for both artists.
Like if he wrapped it all up and squashed it, and that would be beautiful.
Come on.
That would be crazy.
Come on.
But until that happened, nah, no disrespect. It's just.
I know. I feel you.
It's LA on
it's East Coast, West Coast.
It not even. I don't even want to make it that. It's just, yo, man, y'all gotta fix that before we get to bumping records and we.
I hear you. I saw a report, and I don't know how true it is, but apparently Drake sent Kendrick a cease and desist.
Yeah,
he performed Not Like Us at the.
Because that's the biggest stage in the world.
If he performed Not
it's
Like
gonna
Us,
be nuts all over again.
To me, greatest diss of all time.
It is. Even if he doesn't, it's greatest diss of all time.
Really?
I'm hip hop. I've seen it all. I'm hip hop. Yes.
Over Hit 'Em Up.
Yes. Little kids wasn't singing Hit 'Em Up and No Vaseline. We got kid songs. Straight. They not like us learning tools. Like, what the fuck? That's a diss record that got turned into an educational tool for kids. Get the fuck out of here. It ain't never been. This the greatest diss record. And listen, I'm old school. I think the old school is better than the new school.
Okay.
But nah.
Really?
Kendrick's diss is better than them all.
Is it because of the quote unquote parodies?
Listen,
and the samples, the flips.
Let me just say, Kool Moe Dee is one of my best friends. He created battle rap. The style that niggas is using now, the whole purpose of battling. If you talk to Mo Dee, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of battling is fuck your fame, fuck how big you are.
Right.
When we're battling, now I got everybody listening in a different way.
Right.
This is how Jay-Z lost to Nas.
Oh, stop it.
Jay-Z thought because, no, listen to what I'm saying. Jay-Z thought because I'm a bigger artist and I'm more successful, I could diss this dude. But when Ether came out, listen, everybody spoke. Ether came out and was like, it's a wrap. You lost. Stop tripping, Jay. It's over. Again, because you listen different to diss records. And what I saw with Kendrick, niggas was dissecting his shit.
They was.
Like they was in a school lab. Like they had on white smocks with beakers and they was breaking them lyrics down. Like, God,
teaching on the record as well, too.
Shit was crazy. And that is the purpose of battling, is to get everybody's attention off your swagoo, off your image, and that motherfucker stripped this dude. Come on, man. That's the coldest diss record or diss battle I've ever seen.
Okay. So you appreciate the battle then. You appreciate what Drake presented too.
When Drake came with the Family Matters,
yeah.
I was like, you still losing. But I was like, punch this nigga, get off the ropes. Cool. Throw some hands. Yeah. Don't just keep eating these lefts.
Okay.
But then 20 minutes later, 20 minutes later, Meet the Grams. What the fuck? That was the greatest diss battle ever, man.
You live at 30.
That shit was fantastic. Yeah, don't fuck with a Pulitzer Prize winning writer. Like, what the fuck? Attila, I got one in front of you. I'm going to get him. Am I wrong about the battle?
What is going on, beautiful people? I am Lee Hammock, the diagnosed self-aware narcissist known as mental illness, and welcome to another episode of A Narcissist Explains. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about boundaries, how and why narcissists hate boundaries, and how boundaries and saying the word no can protect you against narcissists and toxic people. Stay tuned, like and subscribe.
Want to test to see if your partner is toxic or controlling? Set a boundary.
That is the ultimate test to see if you're dealing with a narcissistic person, a toxic person, or a violent person. Set a boundary or just use the word no. So many people have problems saying the word no and want to make people happy and want people to like them that you let people run over top of you. If you are typically letting people run over top of you, then you're going to be a target for narcissistic people. Because you know that narcissistic people, toxic people, love yes men and yes women. They love yes people overall. They love forgiving people and people that overlook the red flags and don't have boundaries or have very, very loose, flexible boundaries and things like that. If you have problems standing up for yourself, you're going to get ran over by narcissistic people. That spray off keeps mosquitoes and bugs away. Setting a boundary keeps narcissistic people and toxic people away.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
This is my...
Fire! You know Lee Hammock is always cooking. But let me remind you about tomorrow. Please tune in to KBLA Talk 1580 Tuesday night for live coverage of the vice presidential debate featuring Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance. We will be broadcasting the debate live from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with an all-star roundtable immediately following the debate, co-moderated by Dominique Duprima. You already know what's up. Dominique Duprima in the building, as well as, you know, the owner, Tavis Smiley. Hey, that's Tuesday night, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on KBLA Talk 1580. You already know what it is. Here we go. Let's get these callers in here. This is a very nuanced topic, and I love everybody's perspective, calling from all over the country. We got Fayetteville, North Carolina. We've got Houston, Texas. We got Houston, Texas twice. Let's get Fayetteville, North Carolina in there. Is that Shantae? Shantae, get in here. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hey, Zoe, I'm back again from last week. I'm telling you, you are cooking oxtails tonight.
Oxtails. Okay, let's go.
We got some good stuff because, like you told me last week, to journal in order to center and not focus because one is more pure rather than forced. It's amazing that you're speaking this today because you're speaking everything to my soul. You are absolutely correct. I recognize my villain.
How did it manifest? What is it? Who is it? Is it you? Is it them? Talk to me.
Honestly, it's both, but I can only speak for me. Where you say self-love deficiency, and those are absolutely my initials.
Ooh.
First, middle, and last SLD.
Wow.
Had no idea.
Oof.
I thought that me just giving myself, you know, just like Dr. Tracy was saying, you know, even if you want to say no, you don't say no because you feel as though you can't do that. Had no idea that not setting boundaries would take me down such a dark road of being everybody's yes girl. In my own marriage, that, like I told you back then, last week, that you counseled us pretty much when you were, you know, taking those calls in 2019. Didn't even realize it then that I was setting myself up. And it hurts, but it's real. Since the journaling and how you told me, you know, don't write down the negative things, because when you do reflect on it, it has a different perspective of where you need to be, pretty much. This topic is blowing my mind right now.
Well, I appreciate you.
It really is.
I appreciate you. And listen, everybody's a work in progress, including myself. So just remember, this is a community that you are a part of. And just like I'm walking with you through your journey, who knows? I may need you to walk with me through mine. This is a cathartic process for me as well. I never put myself above the people that listen, and I never put myself above the people that, share on this show. We are doing this together. And as long as this is a space for you to call in and really just feel safe enough to share what you're going through, listen, we all gonna grow up by listening to you, okay?
Yes, sir, because the one word that I was speaking about last week was discipline. And discipline for me is setting boundaries. Because regardless of relationship, whether family or anything of that, I exert my energy because I don't want to let them down. And someone in the chat used the word transactional, and I like that. But my transaction is, if you're better, then you can be better for me when I'm in my time of turmoil, because I will be there, because I'm normally saying yes to something I don't want to.
But just remember, being there for someone else, and I need you to understand this. I don't want to say it's secondary, but you can't put on someone else's spiritual mask until you put yours on. You know how they say that on the flight. Don't put on the kid's mask until you put yours on. Sometimes we run to help somebody else because we don't understand that there's something in us that says, see, you're going to recognize that I'm good for you. See, you see, but it's really about you putting on your spiritual mask. And you'll find that when you do that, just the act of you doing it is inspirational for others. Let me give you an example. And I said this before on a previous show. I forgot the guy who broke the 4-minute mile mark. But humans operate through vectors. Once a vector is crossed, right, what was once perceived to be impossible, right, becomes possible. You remember in the Olympics, people wasn't running sub 9 seconds. Who's running that fast? But when they started doing it, everybody started training, and the techniques got better. Then everybody could do it because they seen it done. The guy who ran the 4-minute before him, nobody thought it was humanly possible to run a mile in under 4 minutes. He did it in under 4 minutes. Then all of a sudden, everybody was doing it. So sometimes helping others is the act of helping yourself. All you have to do is be in their presence, and they see you leveling up, and sometimes that could be motivation for them. Does that make sense?
I have to find a way to put you on the payroll, because I promise you're my therapist at this moment.
No. Don't, hey, not yet. We got to get Dr. Jashana Johnson. We got to get Shalonda Crawford. It's a few sisters in front of me that we got to talk to. We got to talk to Pacoya McCall. There's a few of them. But listen, you're going to be okay if you stay on this path, okay?
Yes, sir. I'm following, and I am. I promise you I am. And in the past week, you don't even understand. The things that were keeping me down from recognizing me have been coming to me left and right. And I've been so cool on it that it's scaring me almost.
Wow.
Because it's not me.
Wow. I appreciate that. You have no idea. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. And like I said to you last week, you got a seat at the table whenever you want to call in. We're going to take your call, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Love you too. Yo, North Carolina in the building. When I come forward, I'm going to Houston, Texas. Let's get it. I don't know what side conversations is going on. I haven't been able to keep up with it. But I hope you guys are enjoying tonight's topic. I hope there's some value in it for you. This 2 hours. Yes, I'm glad the topic is resonating too, for sure. This 2 hours flown by, like gone, flown by, and as much toxicity that we live in this society, man. As much toxicity as we live in this society, like at some point, meaning has to start mattering. Meaning has to matter, right? Meaning has to matter. Like, what is life if there's no meaning? If everything is sensational, stimulant, huh? Like I'm really on. I'm really on trying to like undo everything that was done. Thank you, Suge Mac 510, my brother, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, I really do appreciate you, Suge Mac 510. You, like all the other brothers in here and sisters. Thank you. What's up, sir? All the way from Chicago. What up, General Productions? I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody is safe. I think everybody can if given the opportunity. Suge Mac 510, I put 5 on your Cash App. Man. Thank you, brother. Don't think I don't notice, you know. You are definitely one of the most consistent. We have a lot of consistent givers, and you're one of them, bro. And again, I just appreciate the fact that you find value, okay? That you find value in the shows. Thank you. Okay.
The similarity to narcissists, I think, is most pronounced when it's like when bitterness really takes over them, right? So they feel unseen, unappreciated. Someone in their life isn't putting in as much effort as they are, and so instead of pulling back, having an honest conversation, putting in some boundaries, they get judgy and cold, and they give off this like possessive energy, right? And the other person can feel it. The other person feels smothered from the people pleaser's like, why won't someone love me the way I love them? And there lies the motive. It's about self. I'm not saying that's narcissism. I'm saying it's a different genre of self-obsession that is similar to narcissism. If you're a people pleaser watching this, I'm not beating up on you. I'm inviting you to heal something that's hurting you. You're going to starve from loneliness up there on your high horse, up and away from the spotlight and up and away from any responsibility and the conflicts. Giving people loyalty they did not ask for does not make them owe you anything.
Ooh, giving people loyalty that they did not ask for does not mean that they owe you. Yikes. Yeesh. Well, damn. Here we go. Let's get our final callers in here. Callers, you got to keep it a little brief. We're up against the clock. We got 9 minutes left, so let's keep it brief. Sula from Houston, Texas. You're on the line. Talk to us.
Yo, what up, bro?
What up, what up, what up, what up? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Oh man, I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's just a reiteration of my growth I've had over the past 3 weeks since I last spoke with you. Just to kind of piggyback off the topic that you had with the sister before me. I've been doing this self-growth with myself, and I don't know if you remember, I was calling a couple weeks ago about my family chaos, and I think it was more so me being a people pleaser and coming from a family of being people pleasers because we were in a category or a class that we didn't believe that we belonged in, you know. So now that I'm accepting the fact that I don't have to be a people pleaser and I set boundaries, you know, I've motivated people in my family because they see the freedom that I have now within these few weeks, you know, just learning and growing and thriving in my situation. And I think it's a beautiful thing to set boundaries, and sometimes you're perceived as a villain, but it's more so the, what's the word for it?
I'm with you.
I drew a blank. I drew a blank.
Sometimes it's more
nervous right now.
No, that's all right. Sometimes it's the perception of others, and we put too much importance on how they see us.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know right where you at. We good. You can take a moment to think about it.
But it's just more so waiting for acceptance of others to be like, okay, they supposed to be here and they're supposed to be in this position, so we're yes man and yes ma'ams, you know what I mean? We're like, oh, okay, we'll do it, but at the end of the day, we're just feeding more of our vulnerability and our insecurities in the situation instead of saying, nah, you know what, that's going to take me down the wrong path. That's going to keep me up at night.
Right.
You know, that's going to make me say yes to something that I really don't want to do. And I believe this topic of discussion on boundaries is a big thing for a lot of people to hear because we are in a world of people pleasers and we are in the world of how people perceive us.
Hey, let me just say this. I appreciate you for calling in. And like I told our sister on the last call, you know, you're more than welcome to call in anytime, share your progress with us. And we doing this together, okay?
I appreciate that, Zoe. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Houston, Texas is in the building, but Houston, Texas is going to stay in the building. Attila, get in here. Wrap us up, Attila.
Right.
You got time, too. Wrap us. You got time. Yes.
I mean, like, it's real short. The bad guy thing is twofold, and I want to clarify this because I think just seeing the word bad guy is triggering to some, right? It could be. But really, when it comes to people pleasing, you're bad to yourself first, and you appear to be good to others. And when it comes to the dynamics of what makes you a villain, it's your reframing of what is good and acceptable in the context of that relationship that makes you the villain to the other party.
Keep going.
So essentially, this is really, the core of this is authenticity. And your authenticity is your proving ground for your word. And it allows other people to accept your word. So if you're inauthentic, you're actually stealing from the people around you.
Ooh.
You heard of the term energy vampire? You are stealing the energy and the opportunity of the other person to authentically accept you because you have not done so for yourself. That's it.
That's it?
I mean, I had to shorten it. This is kind of the Cliff Notes version, but I mean, the other thing I could also say to this, I'm a former people pleaser. And I think the one thing...
Me too.
Really, really
Me too.
right?
Me too.
You know, so the one thing that I've had to learn is that, like that guy said in the previous clip, it's a different level of self-obsession. It is really, if you want to say, self-awareness on steroids. And so I think that when you're not in balance with yourself in terms of looking at the situation objectively, but also looking at yourself, you're going to find yourself in these situations. So essentially, you're draining your own IV.
Wow.
I think we should all learn to just say no. But that's it.
Just say no. Man. Attila, you already know how you do. We appreciate Attila from Houston, Texas. What did you just do?
How about Houston in the building?
Houston is in the building. The VOR is all over the country. We appreciate the call. You already know how we do. The dichotomy of hero versus villain often oversimplifies the complexities of our interactions. When we set boundaries, I call them soundries, right? A soundry is a boundary that was put in place without your unhealed wounds input, without the input of what you modeled from your past. That's a soundry. That means that boundary is sound and it cannot be broken. Conversely, a cloundry, this is how you're going to get clowned, is when you allow your unhealed wounds to build boundaries, because they build walls to insulate and isolate, right? But ultimately, they get broken down anyway because wounds have to face themselves in another person through the mirror of relationship in order to be healed. And your life will keep calling those wounded people in so you can reconcile yourself. Do you understand? When we set boundaries, especially those we have historically supplied with our emotional resources, we may find ourselves cast in the role of the villain. Yet, this perception invites us to engage in a radical rethinking of self-love and authenticity. As we explore the multifaceted nature of this dynamic, again, we're going to draw on influential thinkers, and we did that in this show. We talked about Krishnamurti and Jesus and Buddha, and we went all the way in. But even though we talked about all of this, guess what? I start the conversation. It's really up to you to finish it. It's up to you to continue it. It's up to you to expand on it, to cultivate it. Once again, I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I'm not here tomorrow because of the debate. They got a whole live show popping tomorrow, 6 p.m. We got a whole audience in the building. Listen, I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I will see you guys Wednesday. Nothing but love. VOR out. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Nothing but love. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. The VOR is giggity giggity ghost. That's funny. Love y'all. Yo.
So,
Deuces.
real quick,
Yeah.
hurt people. I feel like for hurt people, it's hard for them to say no because they've been hurt themselves so much, probably been ridiculed or denied so much that for me to go through that pain, and I see you in pain, for me to not say yes, I feel like I'd be hurting you even more.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
I like it. It's the perpetuation of hurt.
You feel me?
Oh, I hear you. Andy up here, the voice of reason, Andy style. Come on.
So it's like we still gotta give grace to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, bro.
For saying yes. Absolutely,
I'm with you. Hey, man, great stuff, man. I'll see you Wednesday, bro. Yep. Yeah. I'm going to give you all the details, but tomorrow I have a very important show I'm doing tomorrow. Of course, I'm not doing it here. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm going to tell y'all about it after I film it. Tomorrow, big time show I'm doing. I'm going to be doing it from the comfort of my home, by the way. Or I might even go to the lounge. I don't like going into my house. That's my space. I don't want nobody with the evil eye watching. But big time show tomorrow. Big time show tomorrow. With a big time name. A whole 9 yards. It's about to be crazy. Zoe Williams to do this. but it's big. It's big. Shave, I might shave, get extra cute. Nah, but it's gonna be fly. Um, yeah, so although I'm not working here, still working tomorrow. It's gonna be good. All right. But I'll holler back at y'all. Thank you guys for tapping in. It was a great day today. I ain't got nothing but love for y'all. Let me get out these streets. All right then.